What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Monday, May 26th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, beginning things with the bad news as outfielder Derek Hill was placed on the 10-day IL with a wrist sprain. We'll see a big shakeup in the defensive alignment in Miami as Kyle Stowers will shift from left field to center field to take over for Hill directly, which means Eric Wagaman will shift from first base to left field. Matt Mervis will shift from DH to first base. Agustin Ramirez will shift from catcher to DH, and then that will allow Nick Fortes to be the Marlins' everyday catcher until Derek Hill returns. In the corresponding move, outfielder Victor Mesa Jr. was selected from the minors. His prospect star has fallen dramatically since he was first signed internationally. He is now the Marlins' number 26 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, and it looks like Mesa Jr. will be the Marlins' fourth outfielder moving forward. In terms of transactions, starting pitcher Braxton Ashcraft was recalled from the minors. Yes, I actually didn't confirm, but I assume he is probably the brother of the Reds pitcher Graham Ashcraft. But Braxton is the Pirates' number 7 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, but he's really struggled in the minors this year at AAA, 5.03 ERA, 1.49 whip, but that comes with a pretty solid 26% strikeout rate. Ashcraft will pitch out of the bullpen for the Pirates moving forward, and he threw 3 shutout innings in his debut on Monday. Next, we have starting pitcher Logan Henderson, who was surprisingly optioned to the minors. It's surprising given his success in his debut campaign in 4 starts thus far. For Henderson, he's got a 1.71 ERA, 0.95 whip, and a 36% strikeout rate. But the Brewers have a couple days off moving forward, and it's possible that they'll just stick with a 4-man rotation until mid-June, when Henderson could come back to take over another spot in the rotation. But in a corresponding move, DL Hall was activated from the 60-day IL, and he pitched out of the bullpen on Monday, which is his expected role moving forward. Hall tossed 2 1/3 innings, allowing 2 hits and 1 run, walking 2 while striking out 1. I'd love to see him back in the rotation, but the Brewers have a lot of options right now, and Hall is still clearly not stretched out after dealing with an injury to start the year. Next, we have outfielder Kieran Paris, who was optioned to the minors. He got off to an incredible start, leading to a bunch of fab being blown, and blown is definitely the right word because it did not go well. Paris batted .419 with 5 homers in his first 12 games, but in 31 games since then, he's batted just .116 with 1 homers, and he's got like a negative WRC plus or something in that time too. Just terrible from Kieran Paris. Very steep fall off after that incredibly hot start, but his optioning was a result of Chris Taylor signing a major league contract with the Angels. He was just released by the Dodgers last week, so cool to see him stay in Los Angeles, and it's likely that Taylor takes over for Paris every day in center field for the Angels. And lastly, we have outfielder John Rave, who was selected from the minors by the Royals. He's a 27-year-old rookie. Last year at AAA, he batted .259 with 21 homers and 17 steals to go with an 108 WRC plus. But this year, he's taken his game to another level at AAA, batting .301 with 9 homers and 17 steals, good for a 141 WRC plus already. And it looks like Rave will be on the strong side of a right field platoon for the Royals. He's been a guy with a mid-20% strikeout rate throughout his minor league career, so there is a possibility he struggles in that department and is more of a quad A type player, but we'll see what John Rave can do for the Royals with some playing time. Now we'll take a look at the notable performances from Monday, a day in which we had 12 games on the slate. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with first baseman Josh Naylor, who helped the Diamondbacks to win versus the Pirates, going 1 for 4 with a run, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. It was his 6th homer of the year, and it traveled 369 feet at 97 miles per hour. Naylor's always taken different paths to being a hitter that's around 20% better than league average. We've seen him balance his contact and power while also leaning wildly into one or the other depending on the year. And it looks like it's going to be an average over power season for Naylor this year, akin to his 2023 campaign. He's sporting career low marks in strikeout rate and swinging strike rate, and he's also hitting the ball hard more consistently than ever with a career high 44% hard hit rate. But he's had a tough time lifting the ball, Naylor that is, with half of his batted balls ending up on the ground. So Naylor will need to shift his launch angle upwards if he wants to come close to the 30 homer potential he displayed last year. But nonetheless, Naylor will be an elite average and counting stats contributor while stealing more bases than you'd expect from a first baseman of his stature. He's already up to 8 on the season. Next, we have Carlos Correa, who did all he could, but the Twins lost in Tampa Bay. He went 1-for-4 with a run, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. He's up to 4 homers on the year now, and this one traveled 417 feet at 109 miles per hour. And it's been a tough year for Correa as a hyper-aggressive approach, apparent in a 7% increase in his career swing rate, has led to the worst offensive numbers of his career. He's batting .238 with a .639 OPS. He's not barreling the ball. Everything's on the ground, and he's sporting the worst hard hit rate of his career. And with this aggressive approach, Correa is not getting on base via the free pass either, as he's got a very stark contrast between his walk rate this year and his career rate, which has led to a brutal 276 OBP. Correa will need to massively overhaul his approach if he wants to get back on track this year. Next, we have outfielder Mickey Moniak, who did all he could, but the Rockies lost in Chicago against the Cubs. He went 1-for-3 with a run, a home run, an RBI, and a walk. It was his 5th homer of the year, and it traveled 399 feet at 103 miles per hour. Moniak is on the strong side of a right field platoon for the Rockies, but he hasn't found much success in Coors, which is usually where hitters find a lot of success. Moniak is a former number 1 overall pick who hasn't really achieved, or not even gotten close to achieving, the hype that accompanied that draft pick. But there are signs this year that's pointing to a potential emergence from Moniak. After he struggled with swing and miss throughout his career, he's sporting the best strikeout to walk ratio of his career while maintaining his power metrics and finding more consistency at the plate, leading to a career high 48% hard hit rate that blows his career 35% rate out of the water. Moniak should be streamed in Coors moving forward, in my opinion, because luck is going to inevitably shift his way. And I think these changes suggest that he's going to be much better moving forward. And in Coors, you got a much better chance of getting that best version of Moniak. And it's possible he's able to become deep league relevant if these obvious changes to his game have a larger impact than we're currently seeing. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Monday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Randy Vasquez, who helped the Padres to win versus the Marlins, tossing 6 1/3 innings, allowing 6 hits and 3 earned runs while walking 1 and striking out 5. He induced 10 whiffs with 25% CSW across 89 pitches. And Vasquez has found a ton of success this year as a Toby with a 3.58 ERA thus far, but it all feels unwarranted because he relies so heavily on balls in play, just 32 strikeouts in 55 innings, but he doesn't really have the command or stuff to suggest his ability to induce weak contact is deserved. Vasquez took advantage of a cushy matchup on Monday against the Marlins, and against right-handed hitters, he filled up the zone with sinkers and then tried to get them chasing on cutters and sweepers off the plate. His cutter worked pretty well with that approach, but his sweeper was tugged too far glove side and landed far off the plate too often, returning just 20% CSW. And then against lefties, Vasquez used cutters to play off 4-seamers on the outside edge, and then hunted for whiffs with his curveball and changeup down low. Nothing's really changed here for Vasquez, and I think we're really only trusting him as a streamer against lowly lineups like the Pirates, who he gets next. So maybe we can see a good stream from Randy Vasquez next time out against the Pirates. Next, we have Adrian Hauser, who did all he could, but the White Sox lost in Queens. He went 6 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits and 1 walk, while punching out 6, inducing 9 whiffs with 26% CSW across 99 pitches. And Hauser now has 2 scoreless starts to start his White Sox career. And if you remember Hauser from the Brewers, you'll know him as a low-tier Toby, but he's entered this year with increased fastball velocity, and that's about it. Hauser faced a passive Mets lineup on Sunday, and that allowed him to fill up the zone with fastballs and get away with combining for 16 called strikes and no whiffs on his sinker and 4-seamer, while curveballs and changeups were pretty effective staying low. His hook induced a trio of whiffs, and his slow ball returned 6 swings and misses for 43% CSW. So a lot of success there on the secondary pitches from Hauser to accompany the lack of swings against his sinker and four-seamer that landed in the zone all day. But I wouldn't go trusting Hauser after these two starts, especially pitching for the White Sox. The ceiling is not high, and I don't think this increased fastball velocity suddenly makes Hauser somebody that you need to chase. But I don't think it would surprise me if he somehow found a quality start in Baltimore next time out. And lastly, we have Charlie Morton, who helped the Orioles to win versus the Cardinals, tossing 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and 2 earned runs while walking 2 and striking out 5. He induced 13 whiffs with 36% CSW across 86 pitches. And Morton hasn't had a great feel for his signature curve this year, but it was in full effect on Monday, inducing 10 whiffs for 42% CSW as he kept it in the lower portion of the zone or landed it on the edges, front door or back door. A 70% strike rate on the pitch has not been something he's been able to consistently attain this year, but it's clearly a mark Morton should be shooting for if he wants to find success moving forward. The rest of his pitches weren't super special on Monday, as sinkers, four-seamers, and changeups kept hitters from guessing curveball. Morton has always been a cherry bomb, and he's even more extreme now in that regard. So even when he does have a great matchup like the White Sox up next, he could still blow up. So roster Morton at your own risk. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Monday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves, starting with the former. Will Vest recorded his 6th save with a scoreless 9th. Daniel Palencia recorded his 3rd save with a perfect 9th. Trevor McGill worked around 3 walks and a run to secure his 10th save. Felix Bautista pitched a perfect 9th to secure his 8th save, and Jeff Hoffman recorded his 11th save with a perfect 9th. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Edwin Diaz pitched a hitless 9th and earned his 2nd win when the Mets walked it off in the bottom half. Robert Suarez pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game, and the Padres would go on to win that one in 11. Justin Martinez pitched out of an inherited jam in the 8th with a 5-run lead to earn his 4th hold. Luke Weaver pitched a scoreless 9th up by 4. Tanner Scott pitched a scoreless 8th with a 4-run lead. And lastly, Emilio Pagan entered the 9th with a 4-run lead and worked around a run to secure the win. But if you'd like more information on relievers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Tuesday, May 27th, the day in which we'll have a full slate of 15 games. My matchup of the day is Logan Webb versus Jack Flaherty. Always got to root for Logan Webb. He's one of the few players that I've actually got a jersey of in that closet there behind me. And I won't tell the story again about Logan Webb. But yeah, one of my favorite players. Go Logan. Always rooting for the Giants, and Jack Flaherty is always fun to watch, and he should have success here against a Giants lineup that started off hot but has really cooled off throughout the year. In terms of probable starters, we've got 7 guys in the auto starts tier, including both Webb and Flaherty. We've also got guys like Joe Ryan in Tampa Bay, Nathan Eovaldi versus the Blue Jays, and Hunter Brown versus the A's. In our probably starts tier, we've got 5 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Cade Horton versus the Rockies. It's Rocky Road here for Cade Horton as he gets the Rockies away from Coors Field. So he should be able to take advantage of this extremely cushy matchup, as he's been pretty solid as a young Toby this year. I'd also keep an eye out for Logan Evans versus the Nationals. This one will be in Seattle. Great pitching matchup for really anybody who's pitching, and the Nationals lineup is not too scary. Evans hasn't been incredible this year, but he's certainly somebody who can take down a lowly lineup in a great pitcher's ballpark. In terms of hitter suggestions, I'd look at Diamondbacks hitters versus Mike Burrows. He really struggled in his debut, wasn't at his best. I think the Diamondbacks hitters may be able to take advantage of him in his 2nd start. I'd also look at Cubs hitters versus Herman Marquez and his 7.66 ERA. I suggested Cubs hitters versus Carson Palmquist yesterday, and that didn't really go too well. But nonetheless, I don't have a lot of faith in Rockies pitchers, so I'll be targeting hitters who are facing them. I'd also look at Red Sox and Brewers hitters in American Family Field. I cannot believe they named it that, but the Red Sox will have not chosen their starter for Tuesday, so maybe it'll be somebody bad, and the Brewers can take advantage of that. And Aaron Savale is going out for the Brewers. He's had 2 starts this year, 9 ERA, not great. I think Red Sox could pounce on Savale. And now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Luke Weaver has pitched on back-to-back days, so we should see Devin Williams in the ninth on Tuesday. Edwin Diaz has pitched in 3 of the past 4 days, so Reed Garrett could get a save opportunity. Daniel Palencia has pitched on back-to-back days, so we see Drew Pomeranz or Ryan Presley get a save opportunity, depending on the handedness of the batters in the ninth. Trevor McGill has pitched on back-to-back days, but so has Abner Uribe. Last time this happened, Abner Uribe did get a save opportunity, but maybe we'll see somebody like Nick Mears get a save op on Tuesday for the Brewers. And lastly, Robert Suarez has pitched on back-to-back days and in 4 of the past 5, but so has Jason Adams. So I think we'll see Jeremiah Estrada get a save opportunity if one arises for the Padres on Tuesday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast, and make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.